It is Saturday, January 13th, and you are watching You Don't Watch Sports right here on the Feo Grande YouTube network. My name is Bill Smith, and I am here, as always, with the man, the myth, the legend, Feo Grande himself, Omari Ellis.
Hey,
Omari,
hey,
how was your sports week?
you know, it's fine. The suffering that is the Panthers regular season is over. And CEO, we mentioned fighting games and sports and stuff, registration
Absolutely.
opened up. So that's cool. Getting back around to that. So I'm in a good mood this week.
Wonderful.
Actually, we'll talk about it later. I just thought about it. It's been a fucking fantastic. Oh, we've been trying to be better, or have we? I don't know. But it's been a fantastic sports week. We're gonna get into a couple reasons why.
We will get into it. 3 reasons here on the show on You Don't Watch Sports, where we will be your guiding light through the sea that is sports talk. Sprinkle a little information in that sports conversation. Ready to go with topic number one. Omari, all of the coaches are moving on in football. You got a ton of vacancies. You got a ton of firings in the NFL. And then we've got three absolute legends, three pillars of our lifetime in football coaching, hanging it up,
Correct.
possibly. We'll
And
see.
to an extent,
Mr. Nick Saban
hail Saban, as they say.
from Alabama, Roll Tide,
Roll Tide.
has decided to hang it up and retire. He has been coaching down in Alabama for 16 years. It is just barely a faint memory of the chaos that was his head coaching stint in Miami before retreating back to college football. And like the it's insane to think about the joke that was Nick Saban 18 years ago, 17 years ago, and what it is now with him being, as we talked about on last week's show,
Yeah.
Alabama has been the name in college football for 16 years.
Yeah, I think we talked about it off camera that it's only been 16 years. It feels like they've been around forever.
It feels like he's been dominating our entire lives.
Yeah.
Our entire lives, just constantly recycling new crops, signatured by big, beefy men on his two lines. Never really having that Heisman QB, did he?
He he has to have had at least one, but I can't think of the name off the top of my head.
I just feel like he's much like somebody else we're going to talk about later on in the list, maybe separated from a few outliers, a lot of role players, a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of it is a system that I mean, we're both from St. Louis. There is a buildup of the Cardinal way, because it's just such a lineage of a way of doing things that is taught. It seemed like that was the case in Alabama. What did you learn?
He had one Alabama quarterback win the award for the Heisman, and that is the current quarterback of the Carolina Panthers, Bryce Young.
Great
The
job,
first
Panthers fan.
I thought, well, hey, at least I'm the one out of the two of us that said, I think someone did win the award for him. At least I was the one that at least someone heard that.
We'll
And
move
that's
on.
why.
We'll
Because
move
he's
on to the second name on our list. Seattle Seahawks are losing their head coach, but he might not be going too far. Pete Carroll is retiring, but it is assumed at this point that he will be shifting to more of a front office um, kind of advisory role. yet to be
Hmm.
determined role. They will be replacing their head coach in Seattle,
Yes,
Omari.
which is crazy in and
Again,
of itself.
a number that felt smaller than we thought it was. 13 years of
Yeah,
Pete Carroll in Seattle Seahawks. I remember,
I want to say, yeah, I agree that that's shorter than I thought it would be. I thought Pete Carroll, when you first mentioned, like, how many years is 2007 to, now? I thought you were talking about Pete Carroll. That felt
uh-huh.
more like that to me he was 2007 as opposed to 2010.
Yeah,
But when he showed up in 2010, that means he came out and hit the ground running immediately with those Seahawks. Because those
absolutely.
Seahawks that did that were hella early in the 20 teens. So, yeah.
And it's a little surprising that he hung it up. I mean, there was those clips that surfaced from practices this year of him running around slinging it for the B squad at practice one day. Just like absolute like throwing it on the run, backside across the field, like man still had it physically. So it's a little bit surprising that he stepped down, but I mean, I guess 13 years is a long time, even though it feels like a little longer.
Yeah. I think
Oh,
that's the thing with all of these, except for the third one.
now Pete Carroll obviously had the highlights of that amazing defense, Marshawn Lynch,
Legion of Boom.
Russell Wilson at QB, which maybe was a creation of him. Are we
Maybe the
seeing
bounce,
now?
his bounce back from Russell West, not Russell Westbrook, Russell Wilson. His bounce back from Russell Wilson leaving his team was a lot better than some other coaches bounce back from their quarterbacks leaving their team that won them a Super Bowl or seven.
Yep. He brought the Seattle Seahawks their very first championship. Um, congratulations to Pete Carroll as we watch him walk off into the sunset. Another one here, Omari, where we don't really know what he's doing. It might be retirement. A lot of people would think retirement. He is the oldest active head coach this season.
Older than
And the
72?
I'm sorry?
Oh, was he the one that was 72? Because I know Saban was. Two of these coaches are
Oh, well,
72.
Saban's in the NCAA. I'm talking about in the
I
NFL.
know. Oh, but okay. Saban and one of the other two coaches we're talking about is 72 years old.
Right,
And
I'm
so
leading
I thought
into
it
the
was
man
Pete
that we
Carroll.
haven't named yet.
That's what I'm saying. I thought it was
Oh.
Pete Carroll that was 72. So that's why I'm like, older than 72?
n- yes, Pete Carroll is 72.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so no, yeah, I thought that Belichick was the oldest coach, but he is
Mm.
71. Pete Carroll is a fucking spry 72, my dude. Wow. 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 Anyway, Belichick is our third name on the list. Uh has been coaching for the New England Patriots for 24 years. Ugh.
Yeah.
24 years. He was coaching.
Almost a quarter of a century.
Yeah. 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 He almost got in a different century. He's almost coached for the team in two different centuries. That's how long he's been coaching. Um
That
Omar,
is
you have some
crazy to
history.
think about. I hate him. I hate him. I hate his team. I hate his quarterback. Technically
That's
any of
what
his
quarterback.
quarterbacks, but the quarterback, we all know who it is. Uh I'm happy that he is finally out of the NFL. However, I cannot fully celebrate left despite the snickering and laughing and me saying it's been a great sports week. Obviously, this is part of the reason why. less Bill Belichick ran Patriots in the league. Don't worry, people. I'm not going to be some kind of hypocrite and start liking the
Not
Patriots
just
just
that,
because
he's
Belichick
not
left.
even going out on top. I mean, he's going out with the worst season of his entire career. But he
How's it
might
feel to
not
fail
be
for once?
done, Omari. There's
I
a
know. That's
ton,
why I can't fully celebrate.
right? There is a ton of open coaching positions right now in the league,
I might
as
have to find a
well
new
as,
football team
I
to
mean,
root for.
in reality, let's be honest, there's only maybe about 6 to 10 guys in the league that couldn't lose their job if Bill Belichick decided to come to their city.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That
Um,
sounds about accurate.
what do you think's going to happen next? In your gut, in your heart of heart, what do you want to have happen, and what do you think is going to happen?
Okay. What I want to have happen is the leading rumor that the Chargers will be the next home of Bill Belichick.
You prefer that over him just going away forever?
Well, I don't think that's going to happen.
Okay.
I don't see that on the table because we can't have nice things. So I think, and I don't want to hate the Chargers, but I mean, I would rather him go to the Chargers than the other team that is less likely because it's a shitty situation for any coach. But the owner is desperate to get coaches for the team. If he becomes a Panthers coach, I got to find a new team to root for. Because I
even if
refuse. I
even knowing
refuse.
it's likely to be a 3-year run.
I
I mean,
refuse.
wherever he goes is going, you have to assume it's going to be a quick stint.
I refuse to root for Bill Belichick. I am not from Carolina. Carolina was meant to be my replacement team for the St. Louis Rams, and I was meant to have fun with Cam Newton and the boys. They immediately sucked and got rid of Cam Newton shortly after I started rooting for the team. So I stayed with it because, I'm a real sports fan. And
Who's
even if
that?
my
You're not just
team's
gonna
bad,
immediately pick up and
yeah, I'm
move out
not
again.
just because a team's bad. No, that's not what real sports fans do.
Yep. Yep.
If you're stuck with a team, you're stuck with a team. However, I've only been a Panthers fan for about 6, 7 years. So it's not like my life, it's not like my lifelong team from St. Louis or whatever. I at
Uh-huh.
least have the Battle Hawks
Who's
for
that? Who's that other girl that you've occasionally got online and you've pulled up their profile and you're scrolling,
when it comes to
you're
NFL
scrolling, yeah,
teams.
yeah, you're scrolling through their
Uh
page and you're like, I might be into you.
there was a time one of the other team I considered at the time I switched was the Ravens,
Uh-huh.
but they didn't have a lot of the things that made me like the Ravens over the years.
Let's be
Like,
honest, you'll probably go Bears, right? Because of your crew.
see, do I own a Bears jersey because of said crew? Yes. Do I want to purposely walk into a
That's
bad
another option.
situation?
That's another option for him. I've heard that discussed. You got a young guy in the quarterback position who supposedly has an insane amount of raw talent, but can't get somebody to teach him the X's and O's the way he needs to understand it.
Bears already said
That's
they're
another
sticking with Matt
possibility.
Eberflus. That's their
Until
guy.
everybody says that until a Hall of Fame
Go there. I don't want to
coach.
hate the Bears either. But yes, go there. Don't come to my team. Rather my team suck than have Bill Belichick as a coach because I don't want to root for Bill Belichick and I'm tired of looking for new teams. I probably just become a Chiefs fan at that point. I was born in Kansas City. I should have went to them after the fucking Rams left anyway.
Oh man, that would have been perfect
But
timing
I
for
was
you.
tired of rooting for bad teams. I was tired of rooting for bad teams. So I'm like, you know what? Whatever. And coincidentally, right around now, they're looking washed.
Yeah,
So even if I did go to the Chiefs next
you're about
year,
ready to jump to
ain't
them
stuck
and
again.
see Patrick Mahomes' worst segment of his career.
Ah,
uh
we can't have
so
nice
so
things,
so
bro.
you
In
you
my
you're
heart of hearts,
you're
my
hoping
gut
for
feelings of what I think is going to happen,
uh-huh.
I always assume the worst possible outcome. I'm assuming he's going to Carolina because Tepper is tired of throwing drinks at fans and probably wants a chance at getting a coach that might be able to do something. And yeah, and Tepper, with all the other shit he's been doing lately, he's been just throwing money at people, even if it doesn't work, and he just decides to interfere in their decisions. So I could see Tepper trying to make the I've got money big play move of box office. Let's get Belichick. See, I care about football. So that's what I think is going to happen. I don't want it to happen. I would rather he go to the Chargers, but we can't have nice things. So he's probably going to be on the Panthers.
Fair. Fair. I would say, like I said, there's a world where Chicago is always an option. Um, Arizona could be an option for him. I like I said a minute ago,
I said San
I
Diego.
don't know whose job is safe when Bill Belichick calls your owner. I don't know whose job is safe. What if Belichick wants
Tomlin,
to
Reed.
what if he wants to put in a button on it and go back to Cleveland?
I okay. That guy's job ain't safe. He's a Cleveland Browns coach. Now, Tomlin and Reed, you ain't unseating them.
Tomlin Reed are safe, obviously. They seem to love that dude down in Miami.
Yeah, at the
They
moment, yeah,
seem to
and
love they seem to love that dude in
Miami.
Philly.
Um, do they?
I mean, they're not having a great season, but I think the city loves that dude. Uh um if Pete Carroll's going to a front office position, Bill Belichick is not going to be Pete Carroll's little bitch boy. Um,
Nor is Pete Carroll gonna want that motherfucker in the building, given the
uh,
Super Bowl.
you'd have to think that now the longest tenured NFC head coach, the dude I don't even know his name, the guy coaching in San Francisco,
Mike Shanahan
Mike Shanahan. Right, that's right. I do know
or
Mike Shanahan.
Kyle,
Kyle.
his son.
Right.
Mike
Okay.
was a legend.
Yes, of course. Um, Now the longest tenured NFC head coach. You'd assume
I
that
did
he's
not know that, but yeah,
you,
he's
you
safe.
you assume he's safe. Are we done with the list? Tomlin, Harbaugh, Reed, Miami,
Shanahan,
Philly,
Dan,
Seattle,
Mike Daniels is Miami. But yeah,
San
that's about
Francisco.
six. That's about six or yeah, five or six. Yeah, what you said earlier, and I agreed earlier. This
Yep.
sounds about right.
So I mean, yeah, it could be anywhere other than those.
Or the Patriots. They just Paul comes. You know what? Come on back, Bill.
Ah,
make it a whole quarter century even. 25 years. Let's do it.
let's run it back. um, One guy who's probably those rumors of him going to the NFL, you'd
Who
have
I
to think
do
have been
want.
quieted
Yeah,
because
because
he is now the national football champion, Omari.
yes, sir, the Michigan Wolverines, led by Jim Harbaugh, defeated the Washington football team. Not that one. They defeated the Washington Huskies 34-13 this past Monday for the National Football Championship of the NCAA. Much happy. I'm very happy for Harbaugh, despite the and if I want a coach to come to my team that's a free agent, potentially, it would be Harbaugh. I would much prefer Harbaugh over Belichick. Um, that said, there was some controversy this season involving Mr. Harbaugh over a thing of him possibly stealing calls for the other team.
Mm-hmm.
However, NCAA, I don't believe, was able to find any full, actual, concrete evidence of this. And though Harbaugh did get a suspension for a few weeks, it was by Michigan themselves, just kind of a hey, just in case, something comes up with this investigation, let's do it.
And
But
which gave us that great moment of that assistant coach, that interim coach. We did this one for Jim.
exactly. So we had that. And also, despite controversy from the game itself, where the refs were just not not pristine, to say the least. Lots of calls went missed and or called incorrectly in Michigan, and the bad calls went in Michigan's favor more so than Washington's. So a lot of people were like, "Those cheaters." Or those, those. It was, if you're not a hater of Jim Harbaugh, so if you're not from Ohio, or the Ohio State, and claiming that Harbaugh's a cheater, because I think that's also who the claim up with these claims to begin with. Once he finally beat them, because it's been a lot of years of Harbaugh losing to Michigan. He was on the way out at one point, people thought, because he couldn't beat Ohio State. And then when he finally beat them, they're like, this motherfucker's stealing calls. That's why he beat us. Which is another reason why most people just kind of shove that aside, like, okay, you just mad.
Right.
But if you're not from Ohio State thinking he's a cheater, you're probably from some people that are like, refs decided the game. Washington got screwed. Me? Maybe. Maybe that's the case. But I'm happy Harbaugh got himself a championship, brought it to his alma mater. And yeah, all the years of them talking about we wanted him to do this, but he's not doing it. He's a fraud. Nah, Harbaugh turns programs around where he goes. It may take 1 year, it may take 5, but he turns the program around. Turned the 49ers from a shitty team to a Super Bowl contender, an NFC champion,
Before that,
continued
turned
multiple times.
Stanford into a viable football name.
Yeah, turned Stanford into a name, the 49ers, and now Michigan. So yeah, I want him to come back to the NFL. I think something worded in his speech made it, or his post-game press conference, some wording people said like maybe he'll run it back next year. Or maybe he'll be like, hey, I got that college championship. Let me go back to the big leagues and prove I can do it there. So, and get more money.
The one time he got there, he had to play his brother.
The Harbaugh.
Congratulations to Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan State Wolverines.
Yeah.
For our third topic, Omari, run through these wild card weekend games with me real quick.
Super wild card weekend. Today we got Cleveland versus Houston at 3:30 p.m. in the AFC wild card playoffs. Two teams nobody expected to be here because they have sucked for almost their entire existence since 2000. But they're here now, playing against each other in the playoffs. Houston, the Patrick Mahomes out of the compared to the Panthers and Bears is, you know what I'm talking about, the Mitch Trubisky trade. You get Chiefs get Mahomes, Bears get Trubisky. History turns out the way it does. Panthers, they had the version this year. Houston got Stroud. He's taking them places. Panthers got Young. They're taking places the opposite direction. Meanwhile, at 7 o'clock tonight, we got a big one for you. We got the Kansas City Swifts going up against the Miami Dolphins in prime time. Tomorrow, Sunday, we got Pittsburgh versus Buffalo. We got Green Bay. We got the battle of the teams that are always here, but you shouldn't fear because they're not going to do shit. We got Green Bay Packers versus the Cowboys. And then we got the Los Angeles Rams versus the Detroit Lions for their first time winning the division in 30 years. And they get to run into the LA Rams. Meanwhile, Monday Night Football wild card weekend, we got the Philadelphia Eagles taking on Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Boom. I'm going to run through them real quick. I got Cleveland beating Houston.
Agreed.
Ooh, I got Miami and Kansas City being a crazy game, but I am not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes until he makes me bet against Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to take Kansas City winning over Miami. You got it the other way?
Sure. Fins up.
All right. I got Buffalo beating Pittsburgh. I've got
Agreed.
Dallas beating Green Bay. I've got Detroit beating LA. You got Green Bay
That
beating
would
Dallas, or you got
that would
LA?
be preferred. What you just said would be preferred. I I trust Dallas more than Green Bay this weekend. I don't trust Dallas next weekend against whoever they face. So I'll go
Mhm.
ahead and agree with Dallas over Green Bay. And fuck it. It would be funny. Wait, Detroit versus LA? The teams that swapped quarterbacks and then the quarterback won a Super Bowl? And now he's going back to his former team who made it to the playoffs or won the division for the first time in 30 years, meaning they didn't do it when he was there? That's happening this weekend?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
that's the primetime game on Sunday.
I
It's,
don't like Jared Goff,
we
but I
got
want him to beat
huge
the LA
games. We have
Rams.
huge games in primetime this weekend. You got Miami,
Woo.
Kansas City. You got LA, Detroit, with all that history that Omari just
Oh,
tagged.
fucking
And then
Cleveland,
on
Houston,
Monday,
Deshaun Watson.
yeah, but less important than the others,
We
I
hate
guess.
him, but he's still
No, yeah.
in the fucking game. That's crazy.
And then I'm gonna take Philly, and I'm gonna say that Tampa Bay has a surprising amount of fight against Philly. They make it a close game. Philly goes into next week extremely concerned. What do you got to say
At
on Monday's matchup?
Monday, I got Philly.
Okay.
I'm actually gonna say Pittsburgh over Buffalo just because I want to root for my friend's team. But I like Bills Mafia. But I'm saying Pittsburgh just because I want to root. I like rooting to be right.
Again,
So if I'm rooting for my friend's team,
I
I'm gonna
let
do it.
like you with Dallas. I trust Buffalo enough this week, and I have almost no trust in them
Going
in
forward.
going forward. All right. Well, those were our three topics. We loaded on you a big gridiron focused episode again this week. But hey, that's what it happens this time of year. We're not even at the All-Star break for the NHL and the NBA. There's so many games, a lot of topics, not a lot of heated storylines. You got to make it a little sexier for us, folks.
For the
uh
casual fans, which is what we're here for.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're looking for bar talk here, folks. We're looking for bar talk. If you like a little bar talk on movies, TV shows, other things that you could watch with your eyeballs, you could maybe watch us with your eyeballs on this other show we do called This Guy Hasn't Seen, right here on the Fail Grande YouTube network, where him and I pass little things back and forth. It's like a book club for things you watch. And I would suggest you don't even have to go watch that show. I would just want to suggest to you to get a movie club going with like somebody. I think it would be really cool of you to do that. Omari, where else can they see you on the internet?
They can also see me on the YouTube channel, Whatever We Want podcast. I do a good show over there, or I do a show over there with a good friend of mine and good friend of the show, Super Jazz.
Super Jazz.
That's right. Thank you very much. As nature
As
intended.
nature intended.
Indeed. Yeah, we talk about just that, whatever we want every week. I also have a YouTube. Oh, yes, you're on my YouTube. I also have a Twitter and Twitch at Giotavi. That is Giotavi. Come on in, stop on by. Streaming a lot more in 2024. And yeah, that's what I gotta say.
All right. Y'all have a great sports week.
Adios.